with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News Nowcast.
Good morning on your Wednesday. I'm Mark Sawney. Thanks for jumping on Facebook as we check some of the stories we're following at Erie News Now, beginning with one that we first broke last week, continuing coverage of those migrant children, more than 100 of them, who had been housed at the U.S. southern border. They're now calling Erie County home this morning. Erie News Now's cameras on hand as those migrant children arrived at Erie International Airport last night. According to the federal government, it's about 150 kids in all. All, they say, under the age of 12. And those kids, after arriving at the airport last night, are currently inside those Summit Township dormitories, the ones that used to be part of the Family First Sports Park. A representative from the Department of Health and Human Services says there will be one supervisor on hand at these dormitories for every 15 kids. That does compare favorably to a 1-to-50 ratio that they were dealing with down at those Border Patrol facilities in Texas. Word is these kids could be here for up to a month and a half as they await either a stateside sponsor or a potential reunion with their family members. And much like the overall immigration debate, those migrant children's arrival here in Erie County has become a divisive issue. But ever since we first broke the story last week, we have heard from a number of people here at home who say they just want to help. That list includes a local man, Leroy Oglesby. He says he's worked in foster care and adoption for years. And when he heard about these migrant children coming to Erie without any parents, he says he just wanted to help. Oglesby says even with those unanswered questions about how it's all specifically going to work, he knows a lot of other local people who also want to lend a hand.
I do this kind of work, and I was thinking, 150 kids, there's trauma, there's loss, there's hopelessness. Like, what can I do to kind of just, help, in any kind of way. So I decided to start reaching out to people.
Officials have been fielding a number of inquiries, they say, from people who want to help out as well. We'll keep our eyes on all of it. And we're coming off another night of anger in the streets of Minnesota, days after police shot and killed an unarmed 20-year-old black man. That officer has now resigned from that police force in Minnesota. And we're learning she could face criminal charges before the day is done. Now, overnight out in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, it was flashbangs and apparent tear gas fired into this crowd of demonstrators. The protests near that Minneapolis suburbs police station followed a rally for that man, Daunte Wright, shot and killed during what started out as a traffic stop over the weekend. The officer who fired that shot has been identified as a Kim Potter. She resigned on Tuesday, and we're learning prosecutors again could decide on criminal charges at some point on this Wednesday. The Brooklyn Center police chief also resigned on Tuesday. He says Potter accidentally fired her gun instead of her taser. Authorities said they made about 60 arrests during those overnight protests in Brooklyn Center. And just a few miles away, a former Minneapolis cop, Derek Chauvin's defense team, now presenting their side of the case as that murder trial connected to last year's death of George Floyd continues. The defense says Floyd's death was not the result of Derek Chauvin's knee on his neck. Instead, they argue the death was the result of drug use and other health issues. A defense use of force expert told the court that the former Minneapolis cop's actions, Derek Chauvin's, were justified, testifying Chauvin did not use deadly force in his restraint of Floyd. The defense's case is only expected to take a few more days to present. President Biden planning to announce a full withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan. That expected withdrawal date, September 11th. Yeah, symbolic ode to the longest war in American history. It'll be 20 years come September 11th. The Trump administration had set a May 1st deadline after reaching an agreement with the Taliban. Now, this basically extends the presence of those U.S. troops by a matter of months. Again, September 11th, the withdrawal date. U.S. officials say there are currently about 2,500 troops still stationed in Afghanistan. And the CDC is holding an emergency meeting today set to weigh the future use of that Johnson & Johnson version of the coronavirus vaccine. That says health officials at the local and state levels joined that so-called pause in those J&J shots, all because of reported blood clot concerns. They're calling these cases of blood clots extremely rare, but one of the 6 female patients who got those blood clots has died. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the chances of someone having this sort of complication really less than 1 in a million. Pennsylvania health officials, though, say they have notified all the state's vaccine providers using that J&J vaccine to stop that until at least April 20th. Now, that one-shot version of the vaccine is being used here at some of the pharmacy chain clinics. Erie's 3 big hospitals, for the most part, have been using those 2-shot versions of either the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines. Well, this could be a sign of things to come for sports fans. No COVID vaccine, no entry. That's the word from both the Buffalo Sabres of the NHL and the Buffalo Bills of the NFL. They say anyone headed to those games later this year may have to prove they're vaccinated just to get in. Yeah, the Erie County, New York executive was talking about this on Tuesday, saying the plan is to allow for a full house at both those Bills and Sabres games later this year. But they say it looks like everyone's going to need to be vaccinated, including workers. They say fans will be able to use a New York State-run app to prove that they are in fact vaccinated. All right, meteorologist David Walter, before we get a quick check of that forecast, you were busy down at Presque Isle State Park on Tuesday and not just enjoying the beaches down there.
Yeah, uncovering some history about the peninsula. Now, there is this very, very large lake wall. It's equivalent to a seawall just to prevent the lake from running on shore, but it actually stretches from the condos all the way to about Beach 10. Now, a lot of it actually gets buried by the sand, but over the last couple of years, we've had the high water levels that has come on down. The sand is blowing around, it's moving away, and it uncovers this part of the lake wall. And you can actually see a name carved in there, Gavin, from 1948. So this had been covered in sand for really the longest time, barely unearthed, and now we can see a little bit about Presque Isle's past. And we're also looking at the future as well. Obviously, as the sands continue to shift around, that changes how the beaches look, and it's just amazing how some beaches have really transformed over the last 2 years. So it was certainly a good time out there.
I don't know, we got to alert authorities to see if they can track this vandal by the name of Gavin down there
Yeah.
at Presque Isle State Park. Very cool to see that happening, what, 73 years ago?
Yeah, it was a post-World War II project, it seemed like, you know, when the economy was really starting to kick back into gear. And yeah, it's just cool whenever you can find history literally uncovered because the wind blew the sand away.
Yeah, there you go. And taking a look at the beach behind you on this Wednesday, lots of sunshine out there.
Yeah, 50 degrees right now. Yesterday was a good day for the beach walk. I was with the DCNR and also the Army Corps of Engineers. There were also some other folks out there inspecting the beaches. And boy, there's a big science behind how the peninsula system works and how it's constantly moving. And they got to make sure that those areas that need more sand are adequately supplied and make sure that the sand that moves is moving into the right area. So it's like a giant puzzle out there in Presque Isle. Looking out with the blue sky, you can see how nice it is looking for today. Right now with our Ida Luca chiropractic cam, you can see we're at 50 degrees. The air is pretty dry overall. Got a light westerly wind at 8 miles per hour. Temperatures right now, we're in the upper 40s. Meadville over there towards Corey as well as Clymer, but we're already 56 degrees, a bit warmer back there into Bradford. Just some high clouds passing on through, but abundant sunshine really expected for the rest of today. You can see Futurecast continues to keep us nice and quiet through the day, and then into the evening hours, more clouds start to scoot in a bit later on. Maybe an isolated rain shower out there. Temperatures will turn a little bit chillier for your Thursday. We're looking at some spotty showers around, a little bit of sunshine in there. Temperatures will struggle, though, to reach that 50-degree mark, and it could be cold enough to support, yeah, a little bit of snow, some wet snowflakes away from the lakeshore for the early morning hours of your Friday. Today, pollen count high once again. Obviously, nothing in the air to wash out the pollen, so sniffling and sneezing is pretty common for a lot of folks with those allergies. Today, temperatures into the middle 50s during the afternoon, a little bit warmer south. Waterford, Union City, Edinburgh, almost 60 degrees. We'll do lower 60s around parts of Crawford as well as Warren County. So it's going to be a rather nice day overall, but we'll talk more about that potential for, yeah, maybe a tiny bit of snow in that forecast, and we'll cover the weekend in just a few moments.
All right, thank you, David. Erie's own James Conner is waking up as a member of the NFL's Arizona Cardinals this morning. Yeah, the McDowell High School grad, former Pitt University standouts, time with the Steelers is over. James Conner signing a one-year deal to join the Cardinals on Tuesday. The contract reportedly worth $1.25 million. Conner leaves the Steelers 4 years after they picked him in the third round of the NFL draft. James Conner talked to our John Leidick about those 4 years he spent in the Steel City.
Pittsburgh, my time there was great. You know, through the university and you know, the Steelers, and it's not a culture shock. You know, like I said, I feel like that time there has been prepping me for this, and now I get to come out here. This is my vibe. You know, I love the sun and just being out here, and love traveling. And so the opportunity to come out here and live in AZ, and like I said, learn. Football comes first, though. You know, for me to come here and learn from these veterans that they already have, it's the opportunity is there. I'm looking forward to it all.
The Steelers didn't pursue re-signing James Conner after he became an unrestricted free agent at the end of last season. We, of course, wish him the best out in Arizona. All right, now to a story about a recipe, one that you could say had folks popping off online. They called this one anything from a crime to a monstrosity, depending on whose tweets you were reading. This is popcorn and salad, not for the faint of heart or stomach, I suppose. The Food Network's Molly Ye whipped up the internet into a frenzy. This mayonnaise, sour cream, Dijon mustard mixture, throwing in some veggies, and yeah, that crowning ingredient, white cheddar powder popcorn. She says the texture of the popcorn is weirdly good, and I at least agree with the weird part. Well, the internet doesn't quite concur that popcorn is the next crouton. One revolted viewer tweeted out, "I did not live through a global pandemic just to be met with popcorn salad on the other side." Got to concur there. Another tweeter said, "Popcorn salad is trash, and that's exactly where I put it." End quote. I don't know. If I'm hungry enough, I suppose I might give it a try. Makes popcorn seem relatively healthy, I suppose.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually not totally against that. I was kind of against the big thing of mayonnaise being thrown in there. That was an excessive amount of mayonnaise.
It's not the popcorn so much, it's the mayo.
Yeah, it's actually more the mayo, but, you know, I like popcorn. You can throw it in with certain things. Yeah,
I'll give anything a try
soggy,
once,
but
let's do it.
You can't really hate on it until you actually try it, I guess. Temperatures in the 40s as we get into your Thursday. Some scattered rain showers out there, a few wet flakes Thursday night, and then into the first part of your Friday. Saturday and Sunday not looking too bad. Can't rule out an isolated shower on Sunday. And temperatures staying rather seasonable, getting closer to 60 degrees by next Tuesday. So no major ups, but certainly no major downs with those temperatures.
Thank you, David. Thank everybody for joining us on Facebook Live. We'll do it again the same time tomorrow. And of course, we've got a half hour's worth of news coming your way at noon on WSEE. Make it a great Wednesday.